I am 88 years old. I want you to sit with that number for a moment. 88. Not as an achievement, not as something to celebrate, just as a fact. A simple, heavy fact that I carry with me every morning when I open my eyes and look at the ceiling and think, still here, still breathing. But not for much longer. I know that now the way you know winter is coming, not because someone told you, because you feel it in your bones before the leaves even turn. I am standing at the edge of something. I can't see past it, but I can feel the ground getting softer beneath my feet, and from here, from this place, I can see back all the way back, farther than most of you have lived. And what I see is the reason I'm talking to you today. There's something I need to tell you about the story you've been told. Not a conspiracy. Nothing dramatic. Just a quiet, comfortable lie that most people never question because it feels too good not to believe. The lie is this, that if you work hard enough, if you save enough, if you do everything right, the system will catch you at the end. Medicare will be there, they said. Social Security will hold you. You'll be fine. You know this. I know you know this. You've heard it said so many times it feels like gravity, like something that simply is. But knowing something and feeling it are two very different things. I knew the sun would rise every morning. I knew it. But the morning after my wife died, I still looked at that sunrise and felt nothing but cold. The knowing didn't protect me. The feeling came anyway. That's the gap. The space between what we're told and what we eventually live. And in that gap is where most people lose everything. Not their homes. Not always. But their dignity. Their choices. Their ability to decide what kind of end they'll have. Medicare will not save your life savings. And by the time you feel that truth, really feel it, it may already be too late to change course. I want to tell you about a man named Gerald Beaumont. He worked at a paper mill outside of Savannah, Georgia, starting in 1971. We were friends from the beginning, both 23, both newly married, both absolutely certain that the future was going to reward us for our effort. Gerald was the kind of man who planned everything. He had a notebook, an actual spiral notebook, where he wrote down every financial goal, when he'd pay off his truck, when he'd have enough for a down payment, when he'd retire. He had it all mapped out with a mechanical pencil in that careful small handwriting of his. He used to say, "Raymond, that's me, Raymond. Raymond, if you follow the plan takes care of you." He believed that the way some people believe in God. By 1987, Gerald had followed the plan almost perfectly. House paid off, 3 kids through school, a modest pension coming, and he felt it, that quiet pride of a man who did what he said he was going to do. Then in the spring of 1989, his wife Dolores had a stroke, not a mild one, a serious one, the kind that changes everything overnight. Gerald didn't hesitate, not for 1 second. He moved her to a facility that had the right staff, the right therapists, the right level of care, because that's who Gerald was. The plan could wait. Dolores couldn't. Medicare covered some of it. Some. The first 100 days went reasonably well. But after that the bills started arriving, and they didn't stop. In 2.5 years, Gerald spent everything he had saved in 30 years of work. The notebook was still on his kitchen counter when I visited him in 1992. The goals were all crossed out, every single one. And Gerald sat across from me at that table and didn't say a word for a long time. Then he said very quietly, "I thought I did everything right." He didn't say it with anger. That was the worst part. He said it like a man trying to understand how a floor he'd been standing on his whole life had simply disappeared. Dolores passed in 1993. Gerald spent his last years in a state-supported facility. Not a bad place, but not what he planned, not what Dolores deserved. not what 30 years of work was supposed to buy. I think about Gerald more than almost anyone else from my life, because Gerald did everything right. The world didn't stop for Gerald. The paper mill kept running. New men came and took his place. By 1995, the whole operation had been bought by a company 3 states away, and most of the original workers had been forgotten completely. The town kept moving. The years kept piling up. That's the brutal part nobody warns you about. Not just that you can lose everything, but that when you do, life continues without so much as a pause. The machinery doesn't mourn. The market doesn't notice. The system that smiled at you during your productive years has no particular memory of your name once you stop being useful to it. Your job title, your years of service, your corner office, or your foreman's badge, or whatever marker of importance you carried. Gone. Not slowly gone. I retired in 2001 from a company I gave 26 years to. Within 3 years they had restructured twice. My department didn't exist anymore. The people I trained couldn't remember my last name. That's not bitterness. That's just the nature of institutions. They are not loyal. They cannot be. They are not built to carry you. They are built to produce. And the moment you are no longer producing, you become a liability, a line item, a cost to be managed. If you've built your sense of security on your career, on your pension, on the promises of large organizations, I'm asking you, gently, to look at that again. We spent so much of our lives accumulating. I want you to think about the things in your house right now. The furniture, the china set you never use, the tools in the garage, the clothes in the closet you bought for a version of yourself that no longer quite exists. Now I want you to think about where those things will be 5 years after you're gone. Some will go to children if they want them. Most won't want them. Storage units full of someone's lifetime get auctioned off for a few $100s. Strangers walk through and pick up what catches their eye. The rest goes to a dumpster. I'm not saying this to be cruel. I'm saying it because I've watched it happen. I helped clean out my mother's house in 1998, and my older brother's house in 2007, and a neighbor's house just 3 years ago. The things we guard so carefully, the things we insure and polish and move carefully when we pack up and relocate, they outlive us by maybe a decade, maybe less. They are not legacy. A chest of drawers is not what your grandchildren will tell their grandchildren about. And yet, and here is where Medicare comes back into this, so many people in their 70s and 80s are spending down their last savings trying to protect things, protecting assets, protecting property, while the real cost, the cost of a serious illness, a long-term stay, a memory care facility, waits quietly around the corner. Medicare covers hospital stays. It covers doctor visits. It does not cover custodial care. It does not cover most nursing home stays beyond a limited window. It does not cover the full cost of what happens when your body simply wears out and you need help every single day. The gap between what Medicare covers and what serious illness actually costs can be hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands, and most people don't discover this until they are already inside the crisis, until the decisions are being made in a hospital hallway under fluorescent lights with a social worker and a clipboard. That is not the moment to be learning this for the first time. I spent 30 years proud of what I built professionally. I was a supervisor, then a manager. I had people under me. I made decisions that affected other people's lives. I felt important. I felt necessary. And those years weren't wasted. I don't say that. But I can tell you what I did not do during those years. I was not there for my son's first baseball season. Not really. I was there in body for maybe half the games, but my mind was somewhere else. On a deadline, on a quarterly report, on a conflict at the office I was trying to manage. He stopped asking me to come after a while. Not with anger. He just stopped asking. Because children learn very quickly what is actually a priority. My son and I are close now. We rebuilt something real in the last 15 years. But I cannot give him back the seasons I missed. I cannot sit in those metal bleachers again with a cup of bad coffee and watch him round second base with that look on his face, that pure, uncomplicated joy, and actually be present for it. That's the exchange we made and didn't fully understand we were making. The career gave me money, some status, a sense of identity for decades. It did not sit with me when I had my hip replaced. It did not call on my birthday. It has not once in all the years since I retired asked how I was doing. But my son called me this morning. Just to talk. That's the math. That's the real math. I think about small things now. The smell of coffee in the morning before anyone else in the house was awake. The weight of a sleeping child on your chest. The particular quality of late afternoon light in October. A meal that someone made with care. A long conversation that had no purpose except connection. These are the things that come back to you at the end. Not the promotions, not the mortgage payoff, not the balances in the accounts. The moments of warmth, the moments of being truly known by someone, the moments when you were present enough to feel your life while it was happening. I had a neighbor, an old woman named Helen, who lived alone for the last 12 years of her life. Her family was spread across the country. They meant well. They called. But she was alone most days. I used to bring her tomatoes from the garden. Nothing significant, just tomatoes, in a paper bag. And she would hold that bag like it was something precious. Not because of the tomatoes. Because someone thought of her. Because she was not invisible. That cost me nothing. It meant everything. We are so focused on the financial catastrophe, and it is real. I'm not dismissing it. But there is another kind of poverty that no amount of long-term care insurance can prevent. The poverty of being unseen, uncounted, forgotten before you're gone. Guard against that too. So here is what I know. Not what I read. What I lived. First, do not trust that the system will hold you. Medicare is real, and it matters, but it is not a net. It is a floor with holes in it. Know exactly what it covers and what it does not before you need it. Do this while you are still well enough to make decisions. Do not leave it for the emergency. Second, do not wait to have the conversations about your wishes, about your finances, about what kind of care you want and what kind you do not. The families I've watched suffer the most are the ones where no one ever talked about these things, where the end came and everyone was guessing. Argue if you have to. Say the hard things. The conversation feels impossible right now and unbearable later. Third, the people in your life are not waiting for you to finish something. They are not waiting for the right moment or the right version of you. They are available right now. And then one day they are not. And the window closes the way all windows close, without warning, without ceremony, without giving you a chance to say what you should have said earlier. Fourth, measure your life by what it felt like to live it, not what you accumulated, not what title you held, by whether you were present, by whether the people who loved you knew it, by whether when you are where I am now, at this edge, looking back you can say, I was there, I actually showed up for my own life. I don't know how much time I have left. Some mornings I wake up and feel surprisingly sturdy, and some mornings I lie there a little longer, just listening to the quiet, and I think this is practice. This is the body getting ready. I am not afraid. I've had time to make peace with most things, but I am aware more than I have ever been in my life of what I did not say, what I put off, what I assumed could wait. You still have time. Some of you. Not as much as you think, but some. Don't use it the way I used mine for too long. Don't let the days fill up with the noise of things that will not matter at the end. Don't assume Medicare will handle the medical bills, because it won't handle all of them. Don't assume your family knows what you want, because they probably don't. Don't assume there will be another season for the things that matter most. There may not be. This is not a warning designed to frighten you. I'm not capable of frightening you. I'm an old man talking to you from the edge of things. This is just the truth, spoken plainly, by someone who has nothing left to gain by softening it. Go do what needs doing. Go say what needs saying. The clock is running, and it doesn't slow down for anyone.